So, you're telling me about your drums earlier. Question of the day is, how do you come to the conclusion that that's the kind of drums that you wanted, the brand, and I mean, how many drum sets did you try before you picked this particular wood, brand, heads, etc.?
So my first drum set was a Pearl Export. I think a lot of people started on that. Didn't change the heads for 5 years at a time, would play a show and actually not play a show. We never played shows back then, but would play a rehearsal studio and literally throw the gear in the back of my buddy's truck with amps, and there was no care for the set. It was just, the fun of playing. A beater kit, yeah. So after a while, when things got a bit more serious with my last band, I ended up springing on kind of an excessive, 8-piece kit. 2 bass drums, 4 rack toms, snare, 1 on the floor. And
then after one gig, you were sick of carrying them.
Exactly. I downsized to using a lot less stuff. And then I really realized that I bought a lot of gear that was not quality. It was quantity. So started playing a bunch of different drum sets and found that the Babinga wood, it's a denser wood, and I played it at Guitar Center, and I really take advantage of their program to buy something and then play it and see if you like it and return it. It allows you to try really expensive stuff that you might otherwise not play. So I got the drum set, I returned it, and when I had some money, I found the kit on Craigslist, bought it because I loved the tone, really deep, full, lots of attack, and ate Top Ramen for a month and have, just loved the benefits ever since. It's an incredible kit. Thomas Star Classic is, to me, where it's at. With Cormorant, I kind of switch back and forth, but I've been using a nylon tip because of the volume of the music. There's more attack when we play live, when I'm playing on the ride or playing drums, and it kind of bites through a little cleaner.
Yeah. Cool.
So I believe it's the 5BN Vic Firth. I play pretty much Vic Firth sticks. Well, I kind of take the if it's not broke, don't fix it policy. I've been playing Evans heads. The EC2s, it's just a 2-ply head. It's thick. Once you tune it up, it sounds great, and it has that ring that helps keep it in tune. They're durable. I can beat the shit out of them, which I do. On the snare, I'll use like a G2 or something that's sturdy, either a thick 1-ply or a 2-ply that's pretty durable, because I kind of like that dry sound. I don't like it to ring out too much. My snare is pretty thick. For this album, like I said, I used a coated EC2, and I only did that because that's all they had left in stock. But I'm starting to like the way it sounds because it takes out a bit of that ring. It's kind of like a built-in muffling.
Yeah.
So I don't like to over-muffle drums. I don't like to put a lot of patches on them, but just enough to cut some of that ringing.
Yeah, and it's a lot different in the studio and live too. Most drummers I know tend to muffle more in the studio to reduce the bleed, whereas live it matters less. So
no, you're right there. So live it's a different story. Give me volume live.
Yeah. Do you use moon gels? Ever?
I have some moon gels, and occasionally I use them, but I lose them more often than not.
Yeah.
If you want the drums to sound their best, they have a specific range that each size drum will sound the best in, where both heads are working well together. And I like to go as low as I can find in that range, and then maybe bring it up a tiny bit, because they loosen up as you play them. So yeah, it's finding the right balance for that drum.
Let's say you had to go tour Europe tomorrow. You can only bring one piece of gear. Everything else is provided. Just kind of a generic everything else. But what's the one thing that you bring?
I think that would have to be The pedals.
Pedals.
Yeah, just because everyone's set up differently. Some people like their beaters really close to the head. Some people like them slam back so that they're hitting your shins when you play. Some people like it, light or heavy. So that's really something that if you have a strange set of pedals, it'll put you off balance. That's just me, at least.
Yeah.
There's a lot of incredible drummers out there that it doesn't matter what they play. They hop on it and they play it just as good, but unfortunately I'm kind of a creature of habit, so I need something a bit more comfortable for me.
What is one piece of gear that you're currently lusting after that you think that you need or that you want really badly that you don't have?
It's not in the drum realm, but a keyboard. I like to compose things, make beats, make songs. So probably a high-end keyboard workstation is what I would lust after. I'm at the point with the drum set where I really have everything that I feel I need. I wanted a ride, and I ended up buying one, that Meinl traditional heavy ride. So instruments are where I dump all my money pretty much, and I'm at that point where I don't really have to do that anymore unless I break a cymbal or something like that. I'm in a good situation with gear. One other minor thing that's cool for the studio that I take into account is the amount of toms you play with. A lot of drummers who play big drum sets will go into the studio and maybe 3-rack toms or 4-rack toms, which is a very cool thing. You get a nice array of sound, but when you're playing in the studio, I like to use less toms because when it's recorded, the difference between the toms with less toms is more dramatic. So when you do a roll, when you have a lot of toms, you don't get that decrease and that big change. So I find that having more toms live, not only visually, but hearing it is great live, but in the studio, if you can do it, it's nice to kind of go a little bit simpler for the effect of the tones.
Yeah, so there's what you're saying is there's a steeper gradient, so it's more audible versus this like kind of smooth.
Exactly.
So
Yeah, the disparity between the tones is a lot more apparent and a lot more dramatic.
It's almost a moot point for you guys because you're going straight to tape.
Straight to tape, but it was actually transferred to Pro Tools last night.
Oh, okay.
So overdubs, solos, and vocals, shit that needs like a ton of takes, we'll overdub those straight to Pro Tools.
That's cool.
Because on 2-inch, if you overdub or if you punch in several times, it kind of wears that spot out over and over and over again. And if you're trying to hit a solo or if you're trying to hit real high, like something that it's like, okay, I'm really gonna try to go for this time, and you just don't want to like wear that tape out and then to have like the punch be slightly off and then the whole thing's fucked up, and then you slowly run out of tracks on tape anyway. You only have 24.
Right.
So
this way you've expanded your track count.
You
still get the tape sound.
On all the
90%
all the foundation, like rhythm tracks, bass, all
Right.
the drums and rhythm guitars, for
Cool.
sure. So and he has a really interesting way of doing the drum overheads where he sets up like a mannequin head, and then he has one of those Shure. I don't know. Marcus actually knows the names of the mics better than I do, but he has like one mic where one ear is and one mic where another one is, and he sets the mannequin head like right above the drummer, so it has like a really even and already panned cymbal array. He'll individually mic the ride and individually mic the hi-hat to try to get a better in case the bell's got to get turned up or something.
So it sounds like you're sitting behind the kit, basically.
Yeah. It's basically, well, I mean, the individual toms are going to be more highly panned, but it's mainly to get a nice panning on the cymbal. So it's like you can tell that the 18-inch crash is here. You can tell that the 19 is here. You can tell that the China is like here, not here, kind of a thing. It just does kind of that work for you.
Yeah, that's
So,
cool.
yeah, it's really sweet.
So tell me about your specific gear, like picks, strings, cables, anything.
Yeah, all that stuff's very specific. You know, when you've been playing guitar since 5th, 6th grade, you know, you're like, no, this works, this doesn't. So,
yeah,
I use it's a gator pick. It's made by Dunlop Torex, Torex. It's like that certain type of plastic. It has like a white powder on it with an alligator mouth.
Right.
It's the .73. I used to use the .96, which was much heavier. And we've been incorporating a lot more tremolo picking and having a lighter pick. There's more flex. I can get more of a more smoothness over if I'm tremolo picking, you know, 2 strings together or 3 strings together. I just find it's a lot easier. And, you know, weirdly enough, I didn't really realize this, you know, until recently. You know, different picks actually affect the tone differently. And that was a mind-blowing concept. I was like, you know, I'm playing these heavy-ass picks, and it sounds like this. And now I'm playing, you know, I was just for fun, would break out a 40, you know, or a .5 or something. And it was like, I was like, wow, it actually really, really affects the tone in a much different way. So
get a more pronounced attack with a heavier pick.
Yeah,
and then
these
you get
picks.
a little more of a nice. Yeah.
Specifically, and you know, I have 50 brand new ones because I like them really sharp. Once they start wearing down, they kind of piss me off. Yeah. And you know, if you do a bunch of pick slides with them, they get the little notches in the side of them, and you know, if you buy them by the dozen, you can get them pretty cheap. Yeah. But so yeah, I use those .73 Dunlop USA.
Do you find
no, .71. My mistake.
Well, it's that .002 millimeters makes all the difference, man. So get it right. No, but do you ever find yourself tracking rhythm guitars and lead guitars with different picks?
No, I don't.
No, always the same.
No, once I start practicing, and I sort of get used to a certain thing. If I would play an acoustic, then I would probably think about switching picks, right? Because everything is changing there. But but on my electric, I'm using kind of a hybrid set of strings. So we tune down to D sharp, and because we tune down, I like to have that extra meat. So I use a 52 on the bottom. I think it's 52, 42, 32. Then it might be 17, 13, 10. Okay. So it's like
a light top, heavy bottom.
Exactly.
Cool.
And you know, I've been using elixirs for several years now, and
so you don't have to change your strings all that often.
I love them. I used to use GHS boomers all the time, the TNT high-low set, and those would die really quickly. I love a really bright string, and even though it doesn't really come up on electric that much, if you can just prolong it, the elixirs I think do a really good job. I'm not sponsored by them, which would be cool. Strings.com, $7.99 or something like that.
Oh, that's a good deal.
Yeah, that's actually really good. I get all my violin strings there. The prims, they have like 50% off. So cool. Really, really, really good deals. So yeah, I use the .71 Dunlop picks. I use the hybrid strings. I try to use monster cables, like the real high quality ones. You know,
it's something that a lot of people just don't even ever think about. You know, like their cable is just the black one that goes from their guitar to, you know, and it's the one they've had since they were right, and they don't want to invest, you know, because they can be expensive.
Yeah, I mean, a nice 20-foot cable is $60-$70, but if it's a lifetime warranty on it, you're basically, you know, after 2 years you can just bring it back to the store, no receipt, and they'll give you a brand new one. Yeah. So it has that whole thing going on. But yeah, I just switched out all my patch cables, the little 6-inchers, to the right angle monster one. So you know, I don't, my ear's not good enough to notice a difference, but it mentally I'm like, well, if something breaks, I know it's not the cables.
Yeah. Well, and it's less a matter of you go, oh, I can really hear this cable, as you're not hearing a bunch of
right
that you might get with a crappier cable.
Right. Yeah, it's confidence.
Yeah.
So and
Cool.
when there's so much stuff involved, and if you financially can invest in it, I think it's worth it. It's
Yeah.
it's confidence, it's peace of mind,
Yeah.
and ultimately better tone. And how does it sound?
Yeah.
It sounds better. The thing I was trying to get was a long delay working with a short delay.
Right.
So it was so I could have them really like mixing with each other and to create some cool ping pong polyrhythms
Mm-hmm.
delay wise.
And so like a longer one too is almost like an ambiance, like a
Totally.
like a sonic thickness rather than like a ping pong.
Right. Yeah, and like the slap delay that I use, it's more of like a rockabilly, like a 60s, like the vocal, like the Jerry Lee
Mhm.
Lewis,
Yeah.
great, or Chris Isaac uses those nowadays, but
Uh-huh.
it's kind of more of like the Sun Records type of like
Yeah.
slap back. Yeah, I mean, there's always a better energy to a live take.
Yeah.
Even if there's a mess up, there's just a better energy when everybody's playing it all at the same time.
Yeah.
But when you've rehearsed for 9 months the same tracks, and
Yeah.
obviously you were in the studio when we were still writing the tracks, so
Yeah.
we've been working on those for probably a year and a half, 2 years now. So,
Wow.
if you have to overdub, you're gonna nail your part. It's not gonna be like he wasn't playing it live with the drummer.
Yeah.
Criticize. So,
YouTube comments.
yeah.
Wait.
False.
Falsies.
Totally.
Not true. Or
At least it was
false.
done to analog, so we got that on a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
When it really comes down to it, it's all about the sound of it. So, I was listening to a Tom Dowd documentary. I know it was a really good documentary. It's a retrospective on Tom Dowd, and
Mm-hmm.
he's talking to Ray Charles, and Ray Charles is like, and now you can overdub this, and he's like, you can overdub that, but it comes down to it's like, how does it sound? How does it sound?
Genius.
And
Yeah.
it's like, one person can do it, and if it makes the sound that they're trying to go for, that's the bottom line.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it was like quadruple recorded or if it was one take and a fucking cassette, with a little handheld Discman, if it conveys the emotion and if it moves the listener, that's the holy grail. That's the bottom
Real
line.
talk.